Hi, I'm Dick Wagner with the Crest Network. This subject today is about stopping the overuse of specific phrases. I've got about a half a dozen of them that it seems like every salesperson in the world, whether they're doing this on the phone or in person, tend to use these foolish, wasted phrases. Please stop using these phrases. Why? Because nobody really wants to hear them. As a professional salesperson or as a professional marketer, the last thing you need is for your prospect or your client to feel like you're just giving them garbage lip service. Number one, the very first one, we all say this. It's almost built into our culture. Sadly enough, when we say to somebody on the phone or in person, how are you? The reality is we really don't care. We're asking this in a generic form to break the ice, to start the conversation, but we're asking a question that we really don't want to give the answer to. And then on top of all of that, when they give you an answer, it's the standard one or two likely responses. They're going to say great, they're going to say, well, I'm okay, or they're going to say fine. And that's exactly what you know they're going to say. And if they say, oh, I'm miserable today, it's just a lousy day, you know what? They're just too negative for you. You probably better run and run really fast. The phrase, how are you? It's just simply a wasted word or phrase because nobody cares. The next one, well, to be honest with you, the minute you say the word honest, whether you think so or not, and whether they consciously consider this, in the deep crevices of their mind, they're thinking that you're lying to them or that you have been lying to them. To be honest with you, ties right in with, to be perfectly frank, sincerely, I want to tell you the truth, or to tell you the truth. A minute you're trying to have a conversation with them and you include one of those kinds of phrases, it's going to bite you. It's going to jeopardize your credibility. And it never, ever adds value to the conversation. As a salesperson, you need all of the credibility, all of the believability, all of the trust that you can generate. And when you use a phrase like, well, to be honest with you, you have just destroyed the credibility that you were trying to develop. Just checking in, or another common one right along the same vein, is just touching base. I'm sure every one of you and me have used the just checking in or touching base phrase. Once again, it jeopardizes your credibility. The fact is that if in your previous visit you had established an appointment or a specific plan of action on your next visit, that's what you should be bringing up, not some lame, feeble attempt to leverage into or catapult into whatever it is that you want. So when you say just checking in, it's a waste. At a bare minimum, please say, I'm checking in because, and then give them the because. Give them the reason why you're checking in. I'm checking in with you because it's the end of the month and prices are going up. I'm checking in with you because I knew you were on vacation and I wanted to follow up with you quickly so that we didn't end up in a bad situation not having a pre-disaster plan in place. Make sure that if you're going to use the phrase, I'm just checking in, be sure to include because and then give them the because. Are you the decision maker? It's like a dead ringer to anybody on the phone or anybody at the front desk or even in front of the actual decision maker. It's a dead giveaway that you're a salesperson. Every single salesperson needs to know who the decision maker is. Every single salesperson should have already learned who the likely decision maker is. And also, today, decision makers or decisions are often made by committee. They're often made by more than one person. They're made by an executive management team. They're made by the board of directors. They're made by someone other than a single person. And so it's an inappropriate question. Plus, it's a dead giveaway that you're selling something. A far better way, if you have not been able to determine the decision-making process, come right out and ask. And it's very acceptable to say, how does your company make a decision like this? That's an easy one. Almost everybody will tell you the process. Well, it's got to go before the board of trustees. Well, it's got to go before the board members. Well, it's got to go before our executive committee. Well, the owner and his wife and the general manager usually sit down and make those decisions. But when you come right out and say, are you the decision maker? For heaven's sakes, you're a dead giveaway as a salesperson. Don't do that. And then I wanted to blah, blah, blah. I wanted to introduce myself, or I wanted to just stop in and say hi. You know what? Nobody cares what you want. Nobody cares that you just wanted to introduce yourself. And in fact, as the little game that I used to play many years ago when I sat in an office and was called to the front pretty regularly for salespeople, and they would stick their hand out and say, hi, I'm Bob. I just wanted to introduce myself. Or I'm Joe, or I'm Mary. I just wanted to stop in and say hi. I would shake their hand politely, and then I would turn and I would walk back to my office. And the poor receptionist would sit there wanting to laugh, but not laughing because she didn't want to cause any kind of embarrassment. And the person would finally say, he's not coming back, is he? No, I'm not coming back. They weren't honest in why they stopped in. They stopped in to sell me something, but they lied and said, I just wanted to introduce myself, or I just wanted to stop and say hi. Once you introduce yourself, there isn't any next step offered. I just wanted to introduce myself and show you about our greatest and latest brand new pencils. For heaven's sakes, now there's a specific. It would be far better if you said, hi, I'm Dick with XYZ Company. I wanted to introduce myself and see if we could talk about a pre-disaster plan for your company. That's okay. That's legit because you've added to the I want to introduce myself. But you can't just let it hang there like a lead balloon. By the way, nobody in the sales world just stops by to say hi, unless they're family or close personal friends that happen to be in the neighborhood. Salespeople don't just stop by to say hi. If I don't hear back from you, this is after you've met with them, maybe you've even done a presentation, and so as one of those last parting shots, if I don't hear back from you, it is often perceived as a very thinly veiled threat. It also sounds desperate. If you need to clarify and they're being vague about when they want to follow up with this, and you get the sense that it's in 6 months because of some unusual thing going on, or in 3 months, or in 30 days, leave that door open by saying, great, thanks for this awesome interaction. I'll follow up with you in 6 months. I'm going to put it on my calendar to touch base with you in August. Will that be okay with you? That's not a threat. That doesn't come across as a threat. That comes across as a professional salesperson doing their appropriate follow-up and reminders. If I don't hear back from you is almost an ultimatum. Don't give them an ultimatum or a threat. And then last but not least, thank you for your time. Pretty lame. When you thank them for their time, you might think that that's being polite, but the fact of the matter is, if you offered them something of real value in the conversation that you had with them, they should be thanking you. The fact is, when you say thank you for your time, it makes it seem like that client did you some big favor by giving you his time. But if you have provided them with legitimate, useful, helpful, valuable information, then at the bare minimum, they should be thanking you. But you certainly should not be saying that pathetic phrase, thank you for your time. I really like after there has been a conversation and engagement, and I do this on the phone. I do this even when I'm teaching a class or I'm speaking at an event. I almost always ask the audience or the person in front of me, was this information helpful to you? Or was this visit helpful to you? Or was this conversation helpful to you? And when you ask that, it helps elicit additional comments, confirmation that what you brought was valuable, or it will very gently bring out a question or two that they need clarified, which is extremely important in the process. So I added at the bottom here, no prospect wants to hear an ultimatum. Thank you for your time isn't an ultimatum, but so much of what we just discussed in the last 10 minutes is implying a threat or an ultimatum. Please don't do those things. Folks, I'm Dick Wagner with the Crest Network. Remember that the Crest Network is founded based on commercial restoration, education, support, and training. But just so you know, 50% of our membership actively uses us for coaching for their residential business as well, both from a finance and admin side and for residential marketing to agents and plumbers and so forth. So thanks so much for watching. Please stop using these phrases that we just talked about. See you later. Bye-bye.